You can mute everybody here. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritav Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti मूर्ति भेद विभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीं अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः Yeah, Prasad. From number 11. Devan bhavayatanena
Devan bhavayatanena
te deva bhavayantu vaha
te deva bhavayantu vaha
parasparam bhavayantaha
parasparam bhavayantaha
श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ
श्रेयः paramavapsyatha
इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः
ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha
दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः
dasyante yajna bhavitaha
तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यः
taidhattana pradaebhyaha
यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः
yo bhunte stena eva saha
यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः
यज्ञशिष्टासिनः सन्तः
मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः
मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः
Bhunjate te tvagam papaha.
Bhunyate te tvagam papaha.
Ye pachantyatmakaranat.
Ye pachantyatmakaranat.
Annad bhavanti bhutani.
Annad bhavanti bhutani.
Parjanyadanna sambhavaha.
Vajjanyadhanna sambhavaha.
Yajnat bhavati parjanyaha.
Yagnat bhavati pajjanyaha.
Yajnah karma samudbhavaha.
Yagnah karma samudbhavaha.
Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi.
Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi.
Brahmakshara samudbhavam.
Brahmakshara samudbhavam.
Tasmat sarvagatam brahma.
Tasmat sarvagatam brahma.
Nityam yajne pratishtitam.
Nityam yagne pratishtitam.
Now we are going to do 16 today. Evam pravartitam chakram.
Evam pravartitam chakram.
Nanuvartayati
Nanuvartayati.
ihayaha
Ihayaha.
aghayuhu
Aghayuhu.
indriyaramaha
Indriyaramaha.
mogham partha
Mogham Partha.
sajivati.
Sajivati.
Evam pravartitam chakram
Evam pravartitam chakram.
nanuvartayati hayaha
Nanuvartayati hayaha.
aghayurindriyaramaha
Aghayurindriyaramaha.
mogham partha sajivati.
Mogham Partha sajivati.
Yeah. So last time we saw this Krishna's presentation of how this world runs. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha ityadi. We saw it last time. And therefore nityam yajne pratishtitam. So that Brahma, that Veda, that Ishvara is present in every yajna. That is the meaning. Nityam yajne pratishtitam. Therefore, when I see all my actions, my entire life as a yajna, every action is a yajna, every day is a yajna, every relationship is a yajna, everything I put in is an yajna, everything I get is also a result of the yajna. Therefore, nityam yajne pratishtitam, I am never away from Ishvara. And that vision is needed so that we can understand what the Bhagavad Gita is saying, which is you are not only not different, not away from Ishvara, but there is essential identity between you and Ishvara. Correct? See how he is all setting it up. So that vision is needed so that I can then go to the next step, which is appreciate the Mahavakyam. Okay. And now we are entering this number 16, where he is saying evam pravartitam chakram. Evam means like this. Like the last two shlokas that I said, Krishna is saying pravartitam chakram. Chakram, that wheel, the cosmic wheel, if you want to call it, and which includes everything in this universe. It includes black hole also. Okay, we don't know if the black hole is there now or not there. Okay, we have to consider, check with our physicists. But all kinds of holes, just put all the holes there, all the solid matter you put there, and dense matter, not dense matter, this entire cosmos, everything included in this chakram. Okay, we may not physically see a lot of things, we cannot see many things, we may not even understand many things, but we know very clearly the universe is too vast, and there are a lot of things going on in this universe, and everything is an order, and that order is Ishvara. Okay, and so my yajna is needed for that. I'm not an isolated entity. I'm not persecuted by anybody. Nobody can persecute me, and nobody can victimize me. I am an important part of this creation. Creation depends on me. That is the vision here. Okay, so we saw all the idea of devatas, how the devatas are invoked. When we invoke the devatas, we invoke that harmony. So this culture is entirely based on this vision. So that is why all our Puranas you look at, all stories, it's all stories of courage, stories of sacrifice, tyaga. Karnastvacho shibir mamsam. Look at this. Karnastvacho shibir mamsam. And then Jivam Jamuta Vahana. Jivam Jamuta Vahana. Dadau Dadhichirasthini Nastyadeyam Mahatmanam. So this tells about all the stories of sacrifice. Karnastvachaha. Look at Karna. He came and Indra cautioned him, hey, I've come to ask for your kavacha. And in the Karna says, why? What do you want to do? If I give this, I will become a victim. I cannot survive Arjuna's arrows. And Indra says, you are causing destruction. What is standing between you and dharma, between dharma and the people is you. Because of you, dharma is going to get destroyed. Therefore, I want your kavacha. He gives you an option. You can be on the side of dharma, or you give up your kavacha. One of the two. So, but dhanam, their dhanam is highlighted. And so, karnas tvachaha. Tvacha means skin. Karna tore the kavacha from his body. So dhanam. So he says, no, I give. The only thing I know to do is give. And so he gave. And what a Shibir Mamsam. Shibi Chakravarti. Who cannot be impressed by the story of Shibi Chakravarti? And one bird came and landed on his lap and said, protect me. And all these people are after me. And Shibi says, nobody in my kingdom will suffer and will get protection. And so he protects this bird, and this Vayu and Agni Devata come, and they're checking out Shibi. This is all a test for Shibi. And they argue with him, and in the form of a whatever eagle or something, the bird comes and bird argues. Come on, king, this bird belongs to me. Who are you to protect this bird? And he says, no, I am this, I'm dharma, this, that. He said, what dharma are you talking about? My dharma is to eat the small birds. Big birds' dharma is to eat small birds. Who are you to stop that dharma? Beautiful dialogue. And Chibi says, okay, all you want is food, right? Okay, come on and eat me up. And he chops away parts of his body one at a time. And so Shibir Mamsam, look at that, Shubhashitam. Karnastvachaha Shibir Mamsam. Jivam Jamuta Vahana. Jivam Jamuta Vahana. So look up the story of Jamuta Vahana. So there is a story where he says some serpent, he wants to protect some snake. And in order to protect the snake, he gives up his life. Jivam Jamuta Vahana. Dadau Dadhichir Asthini. Dadau Dadhichir Asthini. One second, I need to go. Mother is calling me. So, Dadau Dadhichi Rastini. That is where we left. Okay. So, Dadhichi Maharshi. How many of you know of Dadhichi Maharshi? Yeah, so many of you have heard of Dadhichi. So, Dadhichi, one Maharshi was there, and there is a long story. But finally, Indra was some again serpent. The serpents keep on coming periodically, you know. So here also Vritra, I think that serpent's name, and he was afraid and he was running for his life, and so finally he ended up coming to Dadichi Maharshi, and he was told that only Dadichi Maharshi can protect you. How? You ask for his bones, and and then from the bones you make this weapon called Vajrayudha, and then that Vajrayudha you can use to kill this serpent. And so that is the story. So Dadau Dadichi Rastini. So Dadichi gave his bones. That kind of tyaga. That is this culture. And then Nastyadeyam Mahatmanam. So it concludes like that. For Mahatmas, Mahatmas have given up everything. Ahankara given up, everything given up. So there is no such thing as something to be given, because their entire life is full of dhanam. Like that, I was reminded of this Subhashitam. And so this Pravartitam Chakram, Chakram moves because of dhanam. Vedic culture means a culture of giving, not a culture of grabbing and holding. Okay. And so so the entire ecology is working like that. And there are beings that are created to behave in certain ways. The vulture always goes after the carcasses, and so the environment is cleaned of carcasses, and like this the system is very much in balance. The creation is like that. So once they teased me. They asked me in America, "Oh, you're a vegetarian?" I said, "Yeah, I'm a vegetarian. So what's the problem?" And I lived in a place called Texas, where it's all meat country, you know. You've got to have beef, otherwise you're nobody. So they started telling me, "Oh, we got to get you some beef, otherwise you got to be one of us, you know." And I said, "Yeah, I appreciate that attitude you have." I said, "You know what, don't worry, there are horses are vegetarians, elephants are vegetarians, and like this there are many vegetarians, and so I'm in good company. As long as you protect elephants, you are protecting me, don't worry." Like that I told them. And so there are all these animals. Why did Bhagavan create elephant to be a vegetarian? I don't know, but I am good with that. And otherwise I give this meat to the cow, grind all this nonsense, and then cow bones and feed it to the cow, and then we create what is called mad cow disease. And it's not a mad cow disease, it's a human disease, human mind disease. That's what it is. And what other disease it is? And so don't do that. So because this chakram has to move, and so I am an important part of this chakram. And like this we can go on and on, organic this and so on and so forth. And so therefore here he says, Krishna says, look at that, he uses the word aghayuhu. Again the same word aghayu comes, agha comes, right? Agha, correct. So agha comes, and agha papam. So aghayuhu, one who lives a life of papam, means constantly hurting others, hurting animals, hurting trees, hurting himself, hurting family members. This is the kind of life that person leads. And he uses another word, Indriyarama. Indriyarama. What a word it is. Rama. Look at the word Rama. Bhagavan Sri Ram. Rama. Rama means Ramate Asmin iti Rama. The one who is just happy, enjoys being oneself, enjoys in oneself. That person is called Rama. Okay? Ramate, revels, enjoys, doesn't need anything. But what about this guy? This guy is an Indriyarama. Indriyarama means, now you can guess what that is. So he's a what is it? Connoisseur. You know, they use nice words. They won't say Indriyarama. It's a connoisseur. Connoisseur means what? Means he appreciates a lot of things, and a lot of fine things, fine taste that person has. Well, So, feasting, the person is constantly feasting something or the other. So tongue or something to see or something to smell or whatever. It's all that kind of life. And maybe connoisseur has a better, more sophisticated meaning. But I mean, a person who is lost in this world of things, that person is called Indriyarama. And we can't say, I will lead a long life. That can't be a credit for a human being. Because turtles live 150 years. And so what is this 100 years, 80 years? Nothing, no big deal. And redwood trees live for a long, many years. There are trees that are 700, 800 years old and maybe even longer. So I am nothing. I'm trying to live 1 year more. And it's not, I can't put that in my resume, long life. Coconut trees, 80 years, 70 years they live. And so during the cyclone last year, many coconut trees were devastated here in Tamil Nadu. 1,100,000 coconut trees. And the trees, they are the only assets of many families, many farmers. And I saw farmers crying about and talking about their coconut trees. A family has 3 or 4 or 5 coconut trees, that's all. A coconut will start producing coconuts by the year 5. It takes 5 years to produce a coconut. And then it starts giving coconuts after that. And so these families look at the coconut tree as their own family member. Look at that. Now I feel like hugging the coconut tree now, because that's what it is. It stands tall and it doesn't complain, it doesn't cry, it doesn't shout, it doesn't do anything, and then keeps on giving. Year after year keeps on giving. Say coconut tree, it's called a third generation tree, they call it, because 3 generation tree or something, I forget. That's because it grows over 3 generations. The grandparents have seen it, the children have seen it, and the grandchildren are seeing it. It's called a third generation tree. And I can't say, a human being cannot say family, I have a large family. That also cannot be of any credit to a human being, because pigs also have a large family. And so what do you claim? How can you say? You can't put that in your resume anyway. And if you're smart, you won't put that in your resume. Okay. So I have 6 children and 25 grandchildren, and then some other 70 great grandchildren. So that's of no use. And so Indriyarama, this person Indriyarama, who gets lost in this world of things, you tell him Deepavali, hey, or Saraswati Puja, pick up some book and read. And Deepavali, what are you planning to do? I have ordered a lot of sweets, special sweets they're making, and I'm waiting for them. So he's waiting. For him, Deepavali is equal to consumption of sweets. And hey, there is a lot more to it than that, Deepavali, etc. So one who is lost in sensory pleasures, Indriyarama. Look at that. And then, so such a person, of course, Krishna uses another word here, mogham. Mogham. Saha mogham jivati. He lives a life wastefully. Mogham. That person who is an Aghayuhu and who is an Indriyaramaha lives a life wastefully. And so recognition that I am an important part. I am a part of the whole and an important part. And I am a cog in the wheel. And so cog means, remember that bicycle, and it has a wheel, and then there's a chain around the wheel, and every little protrusion from the wheel is a cog. It's called a cog. And so I am a cog. If one cog is broken, then it's only a matter of time before another cog breaks, before 2 more cogs break, before it will just not function. So that such is the vision, and we all need to recognize that our Krishna is making Arjuna recognize that your role is very important. You can't just walk away from your duties. And so we saw that example about that story of that king who thought his people were all honest. And so Vaidya mentioned tragedy of commons, right? So tragedy of commons is always there. So we try not to let that happen, and everybody has to do their part. And so, like they say, charity begins at home, ecology begins with me, with the individual. And so that's the vision here. So let's go back to the shloka number 16. Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati hayaha aghayurindriyaramaha mogham parthasa jivati. Okay. A person who does not follow yaha na anuvartayati. Vartayati follow. Vartayati does. Anuvartayati follows. Yaha na anuvartayati. A person who does not follow here in this life, comma, iha, that word iha, yaha, right? That iha means here in this life, right now, at this moment, not later. A person who does not follow here in this life, comma, follow what? This cosmic wheel, chakram, this cosmic wheel that is already set in motion, pravartitam, that is already set in motion. By the time I was born, already set in motion. Long before I was born, set in motion, comma, in this manner, evam, in this manner. So in Sanskrit, we start from the verb and keep going back, right? Because English starts with the verb. Whereas in Sanskrit, the verb comes at the end of the sentence. So we have to play a little gymnastics here. So, in this manner, comma, evam, and lives a life of papam, aghayuhu, and lives a life of papam, aghayuhu, given only to the pleasures of the senses, Indriyarama, given only to the pleasures of senses, or given only to sense pleasures, comma, lives wastefully, mogham, or jivati, saha mogham jivati, lives wastefully. O Partha, Arjuna, a person who does not follow here in this life, comma, this cosmic wheel that is already set in motion, comma, in this manner, comma, and lives a life of papam given only to the pleasures of the senses, comma, lives wastefully, comma, O Arjuna, O Partha. Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayatiha yaha aghayurindriyaramaha mogham partha sajivati. Okay, so that person is contrasted with whom? We saw that previous shloka. Previous two shlokas, of course, talks about the cosmic wheel, and the implication is one recognizes that. And so the person who does not do is described in that shloka number 16. Now let's chant number 17. Yeah, Sharada.
Yes, ji.
Yahatu,
Yahato,
yastu,
yasto,
Atmaratihi
Atmaratihi
eva syat.
evat syat.
Atmatriptascha
Atmatriptascha
manavaha
manavaha
atmanyeva
atmanyeva
cha santushtaha
cha santushtaha
tasya karyam
tasya karyam
na vidyate
na vidyate
yastvatmaratireva syat.
yasvat smaratireva syat.
Atmatriptascha manavaha
Atmatriptascha manavaha
atmanyeva cha santushtaha
atmanyeva cha santushtaha
tasya karyam na vidyate.
tasya karyam na vidyate.
Once again, yastvatmaratireva syat.
Yasvat smaratireva syat.
Atmatriptascha manavaha
Atmatriptascha manavaha
atmanyeva cha santushtaha
atmanyeva cha santushtaha
tasya karyam na vidyate.
tasya karyam na vidyate.
Yeah. So here he is going to say, having said that you have to do your duty, suddenly he is saying a wise person has no duty. Okay. Wise person means no duty, nothing to be done. Tasya karyam na vidyate. There is nothing for him to do or her to do. He says that. So it's good, no? Nice plan. Moksha. I want to get moksha very soon. So that, I don't have to do anything. Nothing to do. So at least for that sake, I want to get moksha, right? So great plan Krishna is giving. Let's see what he is talking about here. And so coming back to that vision of Vedanta, and which says that Atma is essentially a non-doer. Atma is an Akarta, is Akarta. Non-doer means Akarta. There is no doership for Atma. And we all actually have that knowledge to some extent. Every parent has that knowledge. Look at how much effort a parent has to put up, expend to bring up one child. One child is all it takes to change a person's life, is it not? Until they had the child, they were going places and here and there, and they're putting photographs on Facebook one after other. There is no time to see all these photographs. I don't know how people, and they keep on putting here and that, and we went to this flower garden and we went there and we went this. Then what happened? There's no news of them. What happened? They had a baby, they had a baby. And so no news, because there's no time for always Facebook and all for such a parent. New parents, okay? First time parents. So the child grows and life goes on, and the child leaves home, etc. And the person has no more responsibilities towards the child. But 20 years have passed already since they posted a picture in Facebook. 20 years have passed, okay? But but they don't say, I've worked hard for you. son, I've spent sleepless nights for you. No parent does that. I mean, in a fit of rage, they might do all these things, but I'm talking in general. The parent doesn't say, doesn't feel that they have done anything. Why? Because it's duty. Because it's duty. When a person does their duty, there is no kartrutva. Amazing it is. There is no sense that I did this. There is no sense that I must be recognized for all the effort I put to bring up my child. No parent says that. So that sense is not there. So the doership is not there. Amazing it is. I'm saying this just so that we don't need to be surprised by this concept of lack of doership. Okay, so that Atma's nature itself is akartrutva. It cannot be an actor. Atma cannot be an actor. This is the vision. This is why Mahatma Gandhi and all these, all Veer Savarkar and all our heroes, they were studying Bhagavad Gita. They did big things, and they had to train people to shoot. Veer Savarkar was the founder of Indian National Army, and inspiration from Bhagavad Gita. Look at that. And so only a person who really knows I am not a doer, only that person is free, completely free to do what he or she wants. Look at that. I am not a doer, and and then that freedom gives me the ability to do whatever I want. In one case, the doership comes because I want to become secure. The only way I can become secure is by getting this and getting that and getting this, and for which I have to do things, and I do things. I do lead a life. All of us do it. So in one case, actions are done in order to become secure, in order to become happy. Then what about the wise person? Wise person also does things. You can't differentiate. By looking at a wise person, you can't say the person knows this Atma Vidya or not. You can't say. Why? Because there's no difference. That person also does. Whatever I do, he does. He also does. But in that person's case, actions come out of fulfillment. Actions come out of freedom. That is why wise people are able to do so many things also. They're able to bless humanity and able to do many things. And so that's the difference in vision here. So that Atma, which was described in chapter 2, it can be invoked here. That Atmaratihi, is talking about Yaha tu Atmaratihi eva syat. Like that, we need to break this phrase into those words. So that person who recognizes oneself as a non-doer, because a doer means what? He can be a karmi. Karmi means what? Or better, karmi means the one who does things. Anybody does things, that is okay. But then this Indriyarama we saw in the previous shloka, that person is a bhogi. Correct? Bhogi. Bhoga means enjoyment. So one who is constantly seeking enjoyment is a bhogi. And the bhogi gets enjoyment through all the things that are available to him. All the things in the world. So using things, accumulating things. Then there is a yogi. Yogi is a notch. He is a smart fellow. Yogi. I'm not talking about karma yogi of the previous, of what we are talking. Just a yogi. The yogi says, I also want the same experience the bhogi wants, but then I'm smarter. You know what? This fellow is running around eating this, eating that, and all that. No, I don't need to do all that. I have some tools, I have some techniques I've learned, and I want to get that experience just by being myself, right? Just by my own mind, I can get those experiences. So what's the difference between a bhogi and a yogi? Bhogi is busy accumulating and getting those experiences from the external world. The yogi says, no, external world is useless, my dear. You have it all here inside, and you can get all experiences. All ecstatic experiences you want, you can get it right here. I'll teach you how to do that. So that fellow is a yogi. What is the difference is, we know what the difference is, but what is the similarity? Both are experience hunters. Both are experience hunters. That's all it is. Only the methods are different. And very soon both will become what? Bhogi and the yogi will become a rogi. They will become rogis. What is a rogi? Rogi. Roga is disease, and so rogi. They get afflicted. Because the yogi wants experience. Anybody who disturbs that fellow is going to get angry at that person, right? Because he's an experience hunter. He looks like a very enlightened fellow, but you touch him one little thing, and then he's going to shout at you. So that is what that Indriyarama is. And so here Atma Ratihi is mentioned. Very important word. It tells us a lot. Atma Ratihi means one who is happy with oneself. Knowing that nothing else in the world can really make that person happy. That person is an Atma Ratihi. So the common way of approaching is, I'm not happy now, and then I want to get something and become happy. Then now again I'm not happy, then I must get something else to be happy. I'm not talking about basic sustenance and all that. Food, shelter, clothing, all that is required. Okay, so we are not talking about a very idealistic situation. We should not get caught up in an idealistic thing. Body's maintenance, basic things are required, and you can't simply stand in the sun and saying it is not hot, whereas your body is just burning. No, you can't say that. We are not asking for this funny ideas. We are not trying to bring in. Body is body. It's a limited thing, and it needs to be protected. It needs certain things for survival, and that's needed. That's taken care of. But the thinking you look, if I take myself to be the body, then there is no end to this. There is no end to this life. Constantly, I want to become this. Then I'm unhappy now, unhappy now. I want to become that. So this becoming, life of becoming, very interesting word, becoming. In Sanskrit, the word bhu to be. Bhu is to be. So look at that. And to be, the English word be also has be in it, the consonant be in it. I don't think this is a coincidence. And so bhudat, so bhava, that becoming life, right? I want to be. Be means become. I want to become. In Sanskrit, this becoming, this life of samsara is equal to a life of becoming. Becoming means I want to become somebody else. I'm not content now. In order for me to be contented, I need something else. I need to be somebody else. Just change the language slightly. Suppose I want a car, and I car, and now the chorus has built up so much that I really can't survive without a car. I need to get a car. So I want to become somebody who has a car. That's the language. So this is called a life of becoming. And so in Sanskrit, that is called a disease, roga, and the name of the disease is bhava roga. Very interesting. Bhava roga. Our composers, they use this word. Bhava roga means samsara. And so you've got many. Meera Bhajan is there. What does she say? She says bhava sagar. Correct? Bhava sagar. सूख गया है, भवसागर सब सूख गया है. So having seen Krishna this ocean of samsara, this ocean of becoming, life of becoming, has dried up. She says that Bhavasagar sab sukh gaya hai. Swamiji's composition, Tyajare Bhava Bhaya Tapam. Bhava Bhaya Tapam. Whenever becoming is there, there is fear. So Bhava Bhaya means the fear of life itself, fear of a life of becoming. And Muthuswami Dikshita compositions, you look up, you will find the word Bhava. So Kaya Rohanesham, there is a song. How many of you have heard of Kaya Rohanesham? So there's a song. It's not a popular song, popular composition. So there he says, Bala Chandra Shekharam, and then Bhava Pasha Mochanam, Trinayanam. So worshipping of Shiva. Trinayanam, the one with three eyes I'm worshipping. And who is he? Bala Chandra Shekharam. Hey, he's young and he has moon on his head, like that. And then what else does he do? Is a Bhava Pasha Mochana. Pasha means noose. Noose. And what kind of noose it is? What is that noose? You don't need to tie anything on your neck and all that. That's that noose. It's called Bhava Pasha. Bhava Pasha. That life of becoming is your noose. And then what does Shiva do? Mochanam. He gives me freedom from that life of becoming. So like this. And then there's a Kashi Vishweshwara. There is a kriti that Muthuswami Dikshitar had written. And there also he uses that one phrase is there. Kashi Vishweshwara Ehi Mam Pahi. Like that he says. Then there also he says Bhava Roga Chatura Vaidya Linga Vibho. Like that he says. So there he uses the phrase Bhava Roga Vaidya Linga Vibho. You are the doctor for my disease. What is my disease? My disease is Bhava Roga, and there is only one doctor for that. And you are my doctor. Hey Ishvara, Kashi Vishweshwara. In praise of Kashi, Muthuswami Dikshita has traveled. It shows he's traveled all parts of India and then written all these compositions on each of those deities that he saw, the temples. So, and I think here this was written in probably Tiruvayara or something down south, but he saw a likeness between that temple in Tamil Nadu, that Devata in Tamil Nadu, and Kashi Vishweshwara. So he creates that likeness here. So some of you who are musically inclined can look up the history of this particular composition. So Bhava. So Bhava is becoming, but Bhava also is being. So recognizing that being is Vedanta. Becoming is samsara, but being, there is a being there. I am the being. And who am I? That question must be asked. And that journey from becoming to being, that is Vedanta here. And so here, Atma Ratihi, we have seen in the second chapter also, we have seen it. So here he has used two words, Atma Ratihi, and then Atma Triptascha. He's using two words. Revels in oneself and happy with oneself and nothing else. And he's using that also. Atmani eva cha santushtaha. That person is a santushtaha, happy. And in oneself, Atmani, in oneself, needing in nothing else. Nothing else can be a source of that happiness. I am the source of happiness. I am happiness. I am Satchidananda. So that vision is there. In second chapter, we saw that. We saw what? We saw the word, Arjuna used the word sthita prajna. Same, sthita prajna. That is the word here. That is the meaning. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnastadochyate. 256, number 56. And then we saw another shloka. What was that? Yavan artha udapane sarvata samplutodake. What is the shloka number? 46. It must be just one before the Karmanyavadikara. So 46. Yavan artha udapane sarvatas samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. So who is that person? How can he be an Atma Triptaha? Well, because when there is floods everywhere, water everywhere, then what is the use of all these things? How can a well be useful when there is flood? You can't look for a well when there are floods everywhere. Like that, the person looks at any object, including the Vedas. And so that much happiness only the small well can give when there is water. And so that we saw. And then Apuryamanam, number 70, I think. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudramapah pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kamakami. So, same, describing similar thing, similar idea. So, person who is complete, achala pratishtam. So that vision Krishna invokes here, having described this yajna. But then here he says one thing, tasya karyam na vidyate. Having said you must do your duty, you are the one who sustains this chakra. Having said that, he says wise person has no duty. So so that vision we are learning that in this Bhagavad Gita, that Atma is Akarta. And so nothing, that person is not a doer means that person has no duties. Nobody can call that person to do something. Nobody can call. The Vedas are meant for us, of course. Vedas are meant for us. And so the Vedas is saying, addressing whom? Addressing the doer. Addressing the karta in us, doer. Anybody. Suppose somebody calls you and says, hey, come on, do this. Yeah, they call you because you have the capacity to do it. That's why you're doing it. But the wise person is not a doer. He knows he is not a doer. Therefore, the Vedas calls him, hey, come on, I've got some goodies for you. Do this. Do this ritual. He doesn't respond at all. He doesn't respond. Like a stone he stands, as though nobody has called him. And why? Because he's not a doer. You can't address a doer. Vedas also cannot address a non-doer, rather. So like this person, like the person who has finished college here in India and got an admission in America to do a master's. Okay. So all of us have some experience somewhere, either in our family or outside our family. So person goes and then he comes back for a visit a year later, and he is boarding the flight in some place, Colorado or New York or wherever. He's boarding a flight, and then everybody is boarding. And then she starts announcing. And she says, senior citizens may board first. And what of this fellow? This fellow is 22 years old, okay? And what is he going to do when he hears that statement? No response. He's still waiting. No anxiety, nothing. Senior citizens may board. Next, families with children may board. This fellow is happy. He's a single happy guy, okay? No family, no children, nothing. So families with him. Then business class can board. This fellow is saving every dollar he can, okay? And some of it is sending home also. Because lower middle class family in India. Now, where is the question of business class? He has to empty entire bank account in order to fly business class. No, economy class. So Taraseat, we call it Taraseat. Taraseat, in Tamil we say that. In Tamil, it is economic class, there is a word for it. Those days, when the movies had come, many decades ago, and especially in villages, they used to screen, there are no building and all that. They used to screen the movie outside somewhere, and then some chairs are put. And then some people sit on the chairs and other people sit on the floor. Correct? The sitting on the floor seat is called Tara seat. Tara means floor. So this guy is boarding and business class doesn't respond. He doesn't respond at all. And then fourth announcement, then elite club, this club, that club, and all that. He is not part of any club, okay? So, nothing. He doesn't respond. Nothing. Finally, at the end, it comes, seat number 30 to 20 or whatever can go. Finally, he has to, only then he looks at his boarding card, okay? Until then, business class and seniors and all, he didn't do it. Unshake. He's an unshakable guy, right? Like that, when the Veda responds to this wise person is unshaken. Because Veda is not addressing that person. So that's the vision here. And so Karma Yoga, why do I need Karma Yoga? Well, so I can appreciate that vision. So why do I need this vision of ecology and things like that? Well, when the Shastram is saying you are the whole, it is not an ordinary equation, ordinary statement. How can I, this small being, sitting somewhere in a small place here, and I'm hiding from Corona all the time, and how can this person be all? Huh? What kind of statement is this? Is the Upanishad is either just totally bonkers or there is some truth in it? If there is a truth in it, then I must know it. And that truth has to be of some value to me. And that value, if you want, then this vision is important. So my life should reflect that vision. And so this cosmic wheel idea was given. And so let's conclude that here. Yastvat maratireva syat atmatriptascha manavah atmanyevacha santushtaha tasya karyam na vidyate yaha tu atmaratihi eva. So we split it that way, right? So we know now the word tu. The minute the word tu comes, not Hindi tu, not Hindi you, that tu is different. Here it is tu. Tu means whereas, comma, whereas for the person who is delighted in the self, atmaratihi, okay, for the person who is delighted or who delights in the self, comma, who is satisfied with the self, atmatriptaha cha syat, atmatriptaha cha syat. And manavaha also you must add, because the person, we already said the person. So manavaha, who is satisfied with the self, comma, contented in the self alone. Atmani eva. Atmani eva. Contented in the self alone, comma, within brackets, for that person, for him, her, for that person, within brackets, close brackets, there is nothing to be done. Tasya karyam na vidyate. Tasya karyam na vidyate. Very fascinating vision. So let me read this once again. Whereas, comma, for the person who is delighted in the self, comma, who is satisfied with the self, comma, contented in the self alone, comma, within brackets, for that person, there is nothing to be done. Nothing to be done. And later on, Krishna also will say that statement. I have nothing to do. Like that he's going to say. Krishna is an interesting man, right? So he's going to say all this, makes nice, interesting statements. Hey, Arjuna, I have nothing. I've done everything that is to be done. Yet he goes around, enjoys life, and he's creating fun and creating a lot of problems also. So But he says, I have nothing to do also. I don't do, he says. So we will see all that later. So we'll conclude today with this shloka. Good. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.